Hello everyone, welcome to GNU according to CD, that is Government of National Unity. So guys, as I had promised earlier, here's a video of that news channel. I believe it's an American channel, but now it's spreading its wings into Africa. Hence you see that girl who is a presenter of this particular channel. It's an American channel, is owned by a black person. I think this guy, even though I think he does have valid points in many instances, and the message it is trying to spread across the African diaspora, including the US, everywhere else. And now he's recently planted one of his news channel here in South Africa by hiring a South African, I think two South African reporters, and they are women, if I am correct. I stand corrected, by the way. And I think the owner is Philip Scott, his name is. Like I said, I do not have an issue with him spreading his wings. Do you get your bag, bro? Get your bag. But when you are going to do it at the expense of Black South Africans by trying to propagate, spread propaganda, especially about the people of South Africa, when all we want is justice and for people to enter the country legally and do legal things in the country and abide by the rule of law of South Africa. And when South Africans are pointing and saying, hey, in my community, I have somebody that's coming from somewhere else in Africa and is messing up my township or messing up my rural or messing up my town or city, that is not being xenophobic, sir. That is not being hate on black hate. That is not anti Pan Africanism. That is not anti black. That is anti crime. That is anti crime. And here we are. We've proved it as the people of South Africa that Chidima's father, in fact, mother, committed fraud back in 2001. And as a result of that, a woman that she stole her identity document from suffered for 23 years. And let me educate you about having an ID or not having an ID in South Africa. Let's start with having an ID in South Africa. When you have an ID in South Africa, you are a human being. You are recognized by the government, as well as all the apparatus of anything that exists here in South Africa. That includes school, that includes banks, include even when you die, you are recognized and registered as a person who has deceased. Now, when you don't have an ID in South Africa, you're the opposite of that. You will suffer because you're non-existent. Many are people whose IDs have been stolen by foreign nationals have actually offed themselves. They off themselves because they cannot live a life of invisibility. Some who IDs were stolen, the person that stole their identity died. And now, because they are alive, Home Affairs doesn't recognize them because they are registered as dead. And therefore, they are suffering because of your friends that you are pushing down our throats and asking us to accept them when they are doing crime in our country. This very report proves my point because none of it says that South Africans were right when they were concerned about Chidima. But no, we were hateful. And now you are singing the praises of one of our traitors, saying they apologize on behalf of South Africans. I'm sorry, as a South African citizen who has not chosen this girl to speak on my behalf, I reject her. She's a traitor, she's unpatriotic, and definitely she is not going to come and plant the ideology of Pan-Africanism when it is not for the people of South Africa and stand against the people of South Africa. So, fellow South Africans, this is the news channel I was talking about. Watch it at your own peril because the agenda here is to propagate Black South Africans as hateful people on the continent. And yet, they want to come and thrive in our country, make money, and still spit on our faces. Look where even this girl is reporting from Kenya. What do Kenyans know about South Africa? Anyways, I don't think she's Kenyan. I think she's either Somali or Ethiopian, somewhere there. But what do they know about our country? And yet they are here, and nobody's bothering them. They rape our kids, they kidnap our kids, but we're not supposed to say that because they're black. No, it's not going to happen. Watch this channel at your own peril. Philip Scott, I am immensely disappointed in you. Immensely. Maybe you should find another place in Africa to, I don't know, whatever. But here, for me, on my side, you're unwelcome.
A young lady from South Africa has sparked a controversy because she decided to apologize to Africans on behalf of South Africans. First, watch the young lady's video. We'll come back and discuss.
Just quickly want to say to any Africans watching, although North Africa, I don't know if this applies to you because there are issues, but particularly people from West Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, I just want to say that as a South African, I want you to know that it's not all of us. I know there's been a lot of vitriol, hatred spewed over the last few weeks, and I just want you to know that it's not all South Africans. There are some of us who still remember Robert Sobukwe. There are some of us who still remember the contributions of various African countries in our fight against apartheid. We remember. Xenophobia occurs in countries across the world and is used as a political ploy by politicians across the world. I mean, that goes without saying, right? I think in South Africa, because that finds expression in Afrophobia and like a very hypocritical, white-loving, master-worshipping Afrophobia, that I felt like there was a need to say, it's not all of us. Like, it's not all of us. Because it's also been really embarrassing to see tweets where people are saying that they'd rather have white people here than Nigerian people here. It's honestly really, really embarrassing. So I just want to say it's not all of us.
Her comment section was on fire, to say the least. People were angry at her. The people that were angry at her were South Africans that were saying that she's not speaking for us. Why are you saying this? Why are you pondering? And by the way, speaking of South Africans in the comment section disagreeing with her, there were white South Africans in that comment section calling her out and saying that we don't want the other Africans and just divisive stuff. And for it to come from a white South African, honestly, is mind-boggling for me as an outsider watching it happen, right? But I do realize, or rather I'm realizing, that the dynamics in South Africa between white South Africans and black South Africans is something that is, I did not even realize. Maybe that's a topic for another day. I've seen a video of a white South African calling out a black American, telling him to go back to his country. The irony of it all.
And there was a white lady there, and there was many kids there. It wasn't just my kids. It's probably about 20 kids running around. And she has a pit bull. And all the kids are already afraid of the pit bull that she has. And she comes to the park, and then she lets it go because, her pit bull in her eyes isn't dangerous. So she feels like it's fine to let the pit bull go. And then the kids are running, and it goes up to the swing, and it's biting the swing and swinging the swing back and forth. And I kindly went up to the lady and said, hey, can you put your dog on a leash? You see the kids are trying to play. This is not a play. This is not a dog play area. This is a kids play area, And she looks at me, and she's like, she kind of gives me like slack and like, why are you worried about my dog? And I said, because there's kids here and they're afraid of your dog. I would just appreciate if you could just put it on his leash. And so she's like, where are you from? That accent doesn't even sound like you're from here. You're not even from South Africa. It sounds like you're from America. Go back to America. Me and my dog come to this park all the time, and we don't have any issues.
I've seen white South Africans in the comment section as well calling out other Africans and claiming that South Africa is their home, so they're not welcome and this is their land, basically claiming it as their land. And as I said earlier, maybe it's a topic for a different video, but there's a lot going on there and it's a subject that needs more dissecting. But as I said, her comment section was on fire, and others, when I say others, I mean other African people, were very happy with what she's saying, and they were thanking her for her mentality and how she views things and how she wants people to unite and come together. But the honest truth is that we have a long way to go. We all have our issues. We're very divisive. Not just South Africa, I'm talking about the whole of the continent. The tribalism we have, not just for different countries, but within a country, the division, the hate we have for one another. No wonder why it's easy for the colonizer to switch things up on us and to make us believe that our neighbor is our enemy. We just forget about what the invisible hand has been doing. We just forget about the evil that has been going on, what we've been facing, and all of a sudden, all our troubles and everything we've been facing is coming from the person that is living next to us. And that's an issue, I think, across Africa. I don't think this is just a South Africa thing, although we're talking about South Africa because this young sister raised it up and she apologized for what has been going on social media, which, if you go to social media, especially Miss South Africa conversation, it's honestly disheartening. You will realize that there's a lot of hate and animosity. I hope it's mostly on social media, and in real life, that's not how we move. But a lot of the conversation that you will read on social media will make you lose hope in our fight for unity. But as I always say, we're not going to give up. Each person teach one. Let us all have a conversation, what it means for all of us to come together. What does it mean? It's not just about one person winning, one country winning. It's everyone winning. And that's the whole point. We have a stronger voice when we come together, was the whole entire point of Pan-Africanism. But unfortunately, there's a lot of divisiveness going on. But anyways, fam, let us know down below what your thoughts are about what the South African young lady said and what others are saying about her speech. I am Ongel Zalalem. I'll see you on the next one.
Support them at your own peril.